ba 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 ba. We're going to defeat these damn alien bastards with the power of friendship.
Oh, it's power, friendship, and love and happiness, Mike. Hey, everyone.
We're back,
Welcome
baby.
back to... Yeah, we're back, baby, again. After a nice American Thanksgiving holiday, interruptions for work and sickness again. Mike, you got to wash your hands, as always.
Never.
Everyone, welcome to Yelling at Gaseous Anomalies. We've been away for a little bit, and now we're back tonight with Day of the Dove in Season 3 of Star Trek, the original series. And, of course, I'm always accompanied by my XO, Michael Pontone. Mike, how we doing tonight?
Not bad. I love the Klingon War March, although it's not the best piece of music. It doesn't really fit, but still, I like when it comes back in. I prefer Le Troyen. What can I say?
Oh, well, it sounded more like a combination of the Klingons and Quantum Leap you were humming there. But
And by the way, if anyone was curious, yes, Captain did say Dave of the Dove. We're not looking at the classic TOS episode Day of the Dove. We're looking at a bootleg from Nigeria called Dave of the Dove.
Yeah, Dave Thomas. He's actually a Wendy's guy, and he's in outer space.
I'm doing a fast again. I'm so hungry.
You're not you when you're hungry.
Don't mention this.
Yeah, well, maybe that's why we were a little delayed. So since we just passed Thanksgiving, how was your Thanksgiving, Mike? Okay? Did you have a lot of fun with the fam?
Well, when you have Thanksgiving with a 18-month-old, you everything that was Thanksgiving has gone away. Thanksgiving used to be a time when you sit down and eat and drink and relax. This is, I am running around after a little imp, and I love it.
Yeah, it only gets more expensive as they get older, I will tell you that. Chasing both of mine down. The highlight is, as I posted on the community page, is having the Starfleet Sauvignon Blanc. Everyone should check out Starfleet wines. It's actually pretty good. Yeah, actually, they're really good. Someone might be getting...
I'm having an office party, and Matt, Captain, and I are going to be doing a little after party. We're going to post pictures. We're making Rymulan Ale and Klingon blood wine.
Blood wine, it's only the best type. Forever. Kubla!
Get between me. No, boast all you want, but don't get between me and the blood wine.
Yes, it's, what's that, Apocalypse Rising in DS9? I can't remember. It's something like that. But anyway, tonight we're talking about Day, not Dave of the Dove. Day of the Dove is from the third season. It's written by Jerome Bixby again. You might remember him from other items, but we'll come to that as well. We see the Klingons, which we haven't seen essentially since Trouble with the Tribbles, believe it or not. Mm-hmm. And we get introduced to our third Klingon, Michael Ansara, Kang. He's in this one. Here we are. We're start off with a missing colony, or at least what Kirk thinks is a missing colony.
Entire human colony. All settled. 100 men, women, and children.
And then he gets slapped. But before we get even farther than that, let me just read you the 1968 press release, if I may. Ready?
Yes, sir.
Mysterious hatred runs rampant aboard the USS Enterprise as Captain Kirk, Mr. Spock, and Dr. McCoy battle Klingons led by Kang on NBC's television network. Star Trek Friday, November 1, 1968. That's pretty sort of okay. It's a little weird, this story, I think. What was your initial impressions from that opening where they're on that planet, they can't find anything, and then they get, well, bitch slapped, if you will.
I mean, I like the Klingons. I think that the Klingons are probably easily the most well-defined villain of the original series. The most recurring, obviously. Like, you understand why they would come back and become iconic, not even villains, merely antagonists to the Federation. And, I was happy to see Kang again. I thought that they were looking a lot more like Klingons, even while not looking especially like Klingons, even though having no forehead bridges. And also just Kang, has this sense of, okay, this is a guy who can be coming from a warrior culture. You're starting to see after whatever was going on in the previous Klingon things, where it was just a Cold War analogy, or like you said, I think that they were like maybe more like pirates. Now they're starting to develop into their own separate but equal culture.
Well, this is, you can see the more of the warrior ethos here from the get-go. This is actually the first and only appearance of Kang in the original series. When you're saying it's good to see him again, the next time you probably saw Kang was either in DS9.
Correct.
Right? Or you could skip ahead. He's also in a Voyager episode, Flashback, where
yes.
You get to see him face off against Captain Sulu on the Excelsior. But that's a story for another day.
I hate
the reason
that
why
episode.
You hate it? I actually kind of enjoy it for some bit, just for the flashbacky episodes.
No, because I love the Undiscovered Country, and they recreate a scene of Undiscovered Country and make it worse.
Okay.
It's weird. Anyway, go on.
That's fair. I actually like Michael and Sarah here. He does remind me of a perfect Klingon, and he's been in other things as well, but they picked him specifically because they actually wanted John Colicos, who was Core from the original one, where Errand of Mercy, where you first meet the Klingons. Meet the Klingons on TV, but John Colicos was unavailable at the time. Michael and Sarah, I'm just going to jump a little ahead over here. He was actually Judas in The Greatest Story Ever Told, and he was also a taskmaster in the Ten Commandments. It's actually very funny. It's like if you watch the Ten Commandments movie, Cecil B. DeMille's movie, suddenly you'll hear his timbre in the background and go like, wait a minute, why is that? So cool. There it is. That's actually kind of neat. I actually like him in this. He's also a mage in a techno mage in the TV show Babylon 5, which I'm hoping I can convince you to see that.
I would love to. I mean, if anything, with Babylon 5, can you curate me a little playlist, or do I have to really watch it from beginning to end?
You kind of have to watch the whole thing, but essentially it's Lord of the Rings in space with some World War II in it. But it's actually a lot of fun. The first season, like a lot of science fiction shows, are rough. Unlike the original series. The original series first season was pretty good. But getting into this, I like the idea that they come down here, they can't find the colony, and both sides are accusing each other of various nefarious acts, and you see this weird spinning thing in the background.
We took no action against your ship, Kang.
Were the screams of my crew imaginary?
There was a Federation colony on this planet. It was destroyed.
By what? Bodies, no ruins?
Mm-hmm.
For like some sort of alien. It's a little weird, but it felt kind of similar to some other things that we've seen.
God,
where
yes.
some
Well,
alien force.
How many energy clouds have we seen? I guess they made this one
exactly.
red.
A spinning red thing. Looks like a washing machine. That's what I think of. I do like how Chekhov loses it in the beginning, and he's going like, "You killed my brother, Piotr."
My brother! You killed my brother! Volunteer to join him. That is loyalty.
And they it looks like they take out agonizers from
Well,
I
read the
universe and put it
Wikipedia along with this, and they do call that an agonizer. So who knows?
Well, the Klingons are pretty rough. But there's some interesting changes over here. This was going to have some more religious overtones, so NBC was a little bit upset. They had to tone it down, but there's some odd language here, like Kirk yelling to Kang, "Go to the devil," in the beginning, which is unlike anything Kirk would probably normally say.
Go to the devil.
We have no devil, Kirk. We understand the habits of yours.
Yeah.
Would you think of that? This opening, where they're standing on the planet. Do you have any weird questions or feelings about it, or?
No, I didn't like the they'll reveal later on of, Chekhov doesn't have a brother, he's an only child. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, why? You didn't have to say that. You could just say his brother is alive. You know what I mean? Like, it was some weird little hiccup in the writing. I'm like, that's awkward. I don't know why it's awkward, but it is.
I always find it funny. Is like, this is like, to me, like one of the bigger issues that Kirk doesn't know his own people. Like, I would go like in Journey to Babel, where he goes, "Oh yeah, Ambassador Sarek and Amanda are my parents. Oops, I should have probably read your dossier, Mr. Spock."
Yeah,
it's the same thing. You're like, you think you know your bridge crew.
Oh.
I do like in the beginning where they beam on up and Kirk signals through his communicator that hold them in stasis. It's the first time we see that, and it's a continued theme in Next Gen and DS9. Most famously, Scotty was held in a transporter beam for years in the episode Relics. I like that effect here where they're actually holding the Klingons and all their weaponry or whatever they have in stasis. I think that's pretty good. I actually like that Scotty says, just keep them there. I think that's a great idea.
Others suspended in transit. Who are they, guess, by the way?
Klingons.
Well, they're right in here.
Yeah, I mean, I like that there's that the transporter is actually seen as the, kind of magical piece of technology that it is, that's where the bioscan comes from. That's how we are able to go to places, and maybe you do pick up some sort of horrific, deadly pathogen, but you don't bring it back with you. It kind of scrubs your system.
Right, if it recognizes it. That's the weird thing. That's great.
What? No, wrong. No, that's the thing. I actually really liked. Okay, I've seen literally only 3 episodes of Strange New Worlds.
Yeah.
I saw the musical episode, which I loved. I saw the Q episode,
Yes.
which I hated, and I saw the episode where the crew gets infected and they are worshiping light.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And it turns out because the doctor had made a backdoor transport buffer because his daughter was sick and he was keeping her hidden in there, and which I thought was very emotional. This is even before I had a little baby. But the engineer, really cool guy, the Andorian who's blind.
Hemmer.
What's his name?
He's dead.
Hemmer. They were asking him. I know he's dead. They were asking him about well, what if the bioscan doesn't recognize something? And he goes, and it's genius writing. It's you don't get it. If it doesn't recognize it, it doesn't let it in. That's the much more smart way to have something screening. It's not, if I recognize a pathogen, it's I don't know what that is, so I'm not letting it come into the ship.
Well, no.
Anyway,
that's
I thought
smart.
it was smart writing, which is very rare for Strange New Worlds.
New Trek. Or all New
All
Trek.
New Trek.
I actually loathe every last moment of all of them, pretty much. But getting back to our episode, what I really like is the costume design of the Klingons, because it transfers through to Next Gen and so forth, down from the sashes, the little pins that they're wearing look like little claws and so forth. They actually wear that on their more battle uniform type things that we see since the motion picture, that more rugged Klingon with the over-the-head spinal column going through their skull. I actually like that, and it's over here. It's also our first appearance of a female Klingon, Mara, Kang's wife, who's also a science officer. I like that. It also shows that they're not just killers and pirates, but they have a society. It was even commented before that they are very efficient, even though they're basically killers. They're trying to be a kind of a parable, or kind of like the Soviet Union. That's what the Klingons actually are. This is actually an anti-war episode, believe it or not.
Of course. I mean, you kidding me? They hit you over the head with that.
Oh, yeah, they hit you. In fact, not only they hit over the head, but all the acting is all over the top. I'll tell you that much. Although I think Kang is actually perfectly suited for this with his, I guess you could say, very boastful sounding words and tone. I think he's an excellent actor. I think he was great in this, honestly. This was a lot of fun. But everyone was noticing how over the top Shatner, Nimoy, even in a sense, McCoy, and Doohans specifically were all acting over the top.
We should have left those false-faced goons in the transporter. That's right where they belong.
But getting onto the ship with your swirly thing, this is when they discover that they're trying to figure out what happened to the missing colony. They think it's some sort of Klingon weapon. The Klingon saying you blew up our ship or attacked our ship. And Spock suddenly begins to realize, well, wait a minute. How could they were too far away to even attack our colony, and we were too far away to attack them. That's kind of weird.
Can you just
it's kind of a weird mystery.
Was there a colony? That I missed that.
No, there was no colony, and no one. The only thing that attacked the Klingon ship is we're not sure. Probably that alien trying to capture people for entertainment. We see that swirly thing fly all over the ship, And people become angrier and more racist as they go along. It's a little bit odd. Like, first of all, we have our standard racist, which is Dr. McCoy, talking about how those people are, you know how them people are, talking about the Klingons.
Yeah.
What proof do we need?
We know what a Klingon is. Subsea butchers.
Talk about making peace with these fiends.
If our backs were turned, they'd jump us in a minute. And you know what Klingons do to prisoners.
We got Chekhov amped up. But you see that all the characters, including Spock, they go in a rather swing from their calm, more, I guess you could say, enlightened Federation selves to the extremes of anger of human nature. But more importantly, this is actually the very first time we actually see a Klingon ship in the original series, not counting the enhanced version. This is the first time you see it. Weird, right?
Sure.
You would think you've seen it
Well,
before,
I
but
think
this is the first time it was
but
there.
I've only been watching the enhanced version. But
That's
yes,
true.
Nice, good old Bird of Prey. Love it.
The writer of this is Jerome Bixby. He also wrote Mirror, Mirror. You
Oh.
might remember that. And By Any Other Name, he wrote that. It took him 7 rewrites. Freiberger did 3 polished rewrites. And Singer did 1 rewrite piece of this. They were like a little bit upset about how there were like too much colloquialism, like go to the devil. They say, Kirk says something like, we're dead ducks. It's a little bit silly. And one of them asked, Jerome, have you ever written for Star Trek before? Which just shows you the arrogance of the 3rd season producers. You go like, are you kidding me? Did you ever not watch the show?
Did you guys ever watch the show?
But this, I actually like this kind of the story over here. They are trapped together on a starship. They don't know what the hell's going on, and they've captured an entire Klingon crew, and they're still trying to figure out what's going on with the colony. And that's when everything starts to go haywire. Half the ship is locked down. They start going like warp 10. They can't reach everybody. It's ridiculous. It's kind of weird.
Emergency bulkheads have closed. Almost 400 crewmen are trapped down there, sir.
And it reminded me actually of something else entirely.
What is that?
I'm going to jump.
Brothers?
I'm going to jump to it. It reminded me of a DS9 episode called Battle Lines, where everyone fights each other and not dies.
I don't
That's
remember
what happens
that. Is
here.
that a first season?
First season episode where Cisco, Kira, Kai Opaka, and I think that's it, they crash land on a planetoid where people are fighting each other, but there's some sort of field around the ship that allows them to keep fighting and hacking off body parts, and everyone heals fine. That's very similar to here, and I always wondered if they borrowed some of the ideas. I guess we'll find out when we get to DS9, but this is very weird stuff. The ship goes to warp 9 and it doesn't break down. 400 people are stuck in the below decks, and the crews are matched evenly against each other, 60 versus 60, as they speed through space. Kind of like an arena of violence all the way through. I don't know. It's just kind of silly. But what did you think of this idea suddenly where they lose control of the ship and then they're stuck?
Fine.
With 60 versus 60. Yeah, it's kind of weird, don't you think? Or a little silly? Yeah.
What?
No?
I don't know.
Maybe.
What?
You don't
What?
know.
It's
You don't like this episode.
No, I mean, listen. If I could just jump around.
Sure, go ahead.
It definitely spins its wheels. Oh, everyone's locked in, and now there's only this amount of people, and now they're getting hurt, but now they're not being able to be like injured. It jumps around a bunch. It's doing things I feel a little bit to fill time. It's another amorphous, unknowable space cloud with no motivation.
Except for
manipulating
violence.
emotions, I suppose. I don't know.
And matter transformation, so everyone gets a sword. It's very strange.
Again, why sword?
That's like the weirdest thing.
Why? What would this little weird entity know anything about swords?
Exactly. And then, like, specific swords, too. I mean, besides the somewhat, like, gladial swords that they have fighting each other, you know, Scotty gets, like, that claymore sword. Actually, one of the Klingons even has a mace, and I'm just trying to figure out what the heck's going on? Why is it turned to, like, medieval combat? It just doesn't make sense in the least.
Right.
And And then everyone getting stabbed, yet they're almost healing instantaneously, like people getting stabbed through the heart.
Okay, I like
fine.
that. I like the idea of that there being this magical place with no consequences. It reminded me a little bit of, again, proto things like Gene Roddenberry having an idea now. It reminded me a little bit of the holodeck with the safety protocols.
Sure,
but
that makes sense. Yeah, it's weird also that I'm just trying to think, when they say 392 below decks are trapped, what's happening to them? They obviously can't get. Were they just hanging out? Well, we're stuck down here. Anyone got a Nintendo? I mean, I'm just trying to figure out what it is that they're doing down there. They can't get out. It's a lot of people up there, and it's a little strange. So it doesn't really draw me in as like some of the other episodes that we've seen in the past. But it's interesting to see how they all kind of go into their corners of hatred of other races and other people and those that are different and seeking revenge. Chekhov is the most virulent. He was actually asking to have more screen time, and here he definitely got it, that's for sure. It's odd they didn't make George Takei do more sword work, because you remember that episode in the beginning, the first season, where he's jumping around when he got the space disease and he was stabbing people.
Sure.
It's a little strange, but I don't know. It always made it a little bit odd. And again, I agree with you. It's like suddenly it's like, oh no, he doesn't have a brother. He's an only child. It's like you think Kirk would have known that as they're going through it. But it was, I really think that this is pretty much what the story is. They're fighting each other. They're slowly realizing they're being manipulated.
Which I do like to the extent of that Kirk and Kang are no dummies. That, essentially it's not that they were able to figure out no, what I'm trying to say, I don't know. It wasn't some breakthrough. It was just that they realized, hey, this is not normal, and they both came to that conclusion. By the way, when is it established that Klingons are stronger than humans? Because there was nothing going on here. In reality, Klingons would be mopping the floor with the humans.
Not necessarily. That's it's all over the place over there. They're considered evenly matched. Humans can be just as vicious and violent as Klingons.
I know, but Klingons are not, 3 times as strong as humans?
Well, they try to explain that in Enterprise, believe it or not. They kind of try to explain that, how there's something that affects the Klingons, so they're more like humans. If you haven't seen that Enterprise episode, I won't.
Oh, you're talking about the augment virus, yes.
Yes, the augment virus turns them, but the augments are stronger than the Klingons, so go figure that one out. It's a little strange, It's just I don't know. It just felt like to me while watching the story, there are pieces of a story that are very incomplete. I didn't. Now I feel like I'm sounding like you. It's like looking for something more to connect it together. But I guess it's the hatred of each other, or the baseline hatred of each side against each other.
You green-blooded half-breed!
May I say that I have not thoroughly enjoyed serving with humans. I find their illogic and foolish emotions a constant irritant.
Then transfer out, freak!
Doesn't like each other. It's a little, I don't know. It doesn't feel like a deeper story. They're both being manipulated, and it takes them time to realize that there's some sort of alien entity on board. Spock is the one who discovers it, of course.
Uh-huh.
And, but I don't know what to put my finger on it. I don't hate this episode. I like this episode, but to me, it always makes me feel a little empty. And I think it's part of the third season blues in some regards. It's not terrible.
Well, just that within 3 seasons, they both got really... within 3 seasons, they started just apparently losing all of their new ideas. I mean, this is a rehashed conglomeration of 4 or 5 different previous things. There's not an original bone in the story. I hate when a villain or antagonist, whatever you want to call it, does not have motivation, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know what the hell, why it's going there. Oh, it feeds on negative emotions, and is that it?
Yeah, that's basically it. It also kind of, it actually a little bit reminds me of Space Seed in some regards with Khan, like where they take over well, you have a superior physical force taking over the Enterprise. Just in that sense.
Sure.
A little. It's a little bizarre. But other than that, I mean, basically the story is that there's something manipulating them to act on their base hatreds of each other or dislike of each other. And they even realize it goes like this. We're trained not to act this way, and yet here we are acting this way. And believe it or not, the dialogue that we see is tightened up. So they actually wanted it to be bloodier, with blood all over the place, by the way, with actual hacked parts. But NBC said no. I know. But that's all I could think of really on the story. I mean, it's all right. To me, it seems a lot of back and forth. They take over the engineering, then they're fighting into the bridge, and they try and take back engineering, and they can't, and they hold each other. And where I'm saying it reminds me of Space Seed is like Khan kills off their life support. That happens here too, but then the alien turns it back on. Yet for some reason the alien can't regenerate the lithium. You think it would know that as it's burning the engine core out as they're going at warp 9, going nowhere really fast, so to speak. I think the racist lines between McCoy and everyone else is like, you guys better start acting like military men and realizing that these Klingons are butchers more than anything else. Scotty yelling at Spock like, why don't you quit the service, you pointy-eared freak? I mean, that's pretty much like the highlights of this. Well, I think maybe the only other thing I can think of that stands out is intership beaming. This is the first time it's actually done.
Intra-ship beaming. From one section to another, it's possible. It has rarely been done because of the danger involved. Pinpoint accuracy is required.
And it predates everything else. In Strange New Worlds, they use it like blinking. But as Spock says, it's hard to do and it's dangerous. I thought that was interesting, where they had to beam to other parts of the ship from, the transporter room to try and meet with Kang.
Why do you reckon that it was? What was the idea of it being dangerous?
I think it's probably because they're moving. I think that's what it is. And although you could say the ship's in orbit over a planet, maybe they're geosynchronous or they can map it a little bit better. I think it's because they're moving, and they're concerned that as the ship is moving, they might beam into a bulkhead. That's the only thing I could think of.
Okay. I could site-to-site transport. I understand that. Fair enough.
Yeah, it's a little weird. Yeah. What do you think about Chekhov acting like almost like a rapist towards Kang's wife?
Very unsettling. 60s stuff, I never understood when someone was like, "Oh, well, you can't have sexual assault." Like, it's like some people think it should have no place in any cinema, and they're like, "Oh, you're not, you should never have something like that be a what am I trying to say? Be a plot point." I'm like, well, that's silly. That's a level of censorship that's ridiculous. Because what happens if that happens to a character naturally? Sad to say, you can't just say that it doesn't exist. But the flip side of that is you can't just insert it in there, especially not amongst characters that we like. I mean, Chekhov is a likable character, and it's just like, oh, we'll show that he's being, morally lecherous by doing this. I'm like, too much, dude. Pull it back.
Yeah. It's a little disturbing, that entire little bit. It's odd. Originally, this idea is that the Enterprise was going to evacuate a Klingon colony that was being attacked, and then they get captured by a race called the Dorn, which I think is funny because I think of Michael Dorn. And it was actually called Blessed Be the Meek. So they kept changing around the story over here. The big issue is that Bixby was not a TV writer, but just a regular sci-fi writer. And by the way, other people who wrote for this season were Philip Jose Farmer, Vonnegut, Robert Shecky. So there was a lot of people over here who did it. But anyway, there's just other things over here. They renamed this Day of the Thorn, or Tharn, because that was one of the alien names that Bixby came up with. And they just came up with Day of the Dove because they wanted to make it Hawks versus Dove on USA military policy to deal with the Soviet Union and the Vietnam War.
Oh, I just thought that we're saying like the Day of the Dove because there would be peace. It was the day that peace was found.
Close. Yeah. Does it surprise you that there were too many locations and characters after a while in this?
What do you mean
Does
locations?
It seem a little all over the place?
It's all the ship.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, they were. I guess you're right. I mean, they were complaining because they were trying to save money, but they were like in various portions of it. I don't know why it was such a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen,
I do like the.
No, go
yeah.
on.
I was just gonna say I do like that. They're more over the top anti-war messages that Captain's log where he goes Stardate Armageddon, stop the war now.
Captain's log, Stardate Armageddon. We must find a way to defeat the alien force of hate that has taken over the Enterprise. Stop the war now.
That was a clear anti-Vietnam type of thing, but to me it's a little bit over too much. A little bit too much.
I liked the whole like them realizing that there's that they were being manipulated, and both the captains kind of like slapping each other in the back and giving commands.
Oh, that was funny.
To stand down to their men. I did not like the laughing. I thought it was like it made me think about the Austin Powers bit where they were all laughing in the conference room and then the camera holds. And it's like, yeah, what happens when they stop laughing? It just kind of like slowly fades away and is a little awkward. It's like, ooh, okay, haha. I guess I'm going back to my ship now.
Yeah, well, his ship is blown up. Where do they take the Klingons?
I don't know. I mean, the Klingon is an empire. I'm sure they're not too far away from an outpost.
Mm-hmm. Here's some comment I just want to point out. James Doohan said, as the entity influenced us more and more, we had to act bigger and bigger, notching up the intensity as much as we could. It's fun every so often to act in a manner so completely contrary to character. Although as the histrionics level rose, we all started sounding dangerously like Kirk normally did. Ouch. I think that's pretty funny.
Well, yeah,
Jimmy,
I mean, I don't know what to say. Like, obviously they love to crap on the guy, but I like the way I like Kirk as a captain. I don't think that he's cartoonish.
I love him.
I think that he's just very unique.
Oh yeah, Michael and Sarah said that Shatner never let up his tremendous enthusiasm, and communicated to anyone who worked on any other show or working with it, and he didn't want to detract from Nimoy, but he actually enjoyed working with Shatner a lot, Michael and Sarah. So there's that. He thought that Shatner had a tougher part because he had to create a character without like an alien makeup or mannerisms that Nimoy had. So I actually think that's kind of interesting. And Michael and Sarah I thought was excellent as a Klingon. I actually believed him to be a Klingon.
The best one that we've seen so far.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I like John. I actually like all three. I like John Colicos from Errand of Mercy as the governor. I had no problem with Captain Koloff as for the for the Tribbles, In Trouble with the Tribbles. But you like Michael and Sarah's more serious-sounding kind of Klingon commander more?
I like this commander more. He's much more of a real person, I would say.
You know what? I'm going to have to... I agree with you on that. I also like the fact that when they threatened to kill Mara, his wife, he goes, she's just a victim of war. We see that often again and again in Klingon culture with, like, Star Trek 3, where the Krug's, I guess, wife/spy girlfriend stealing the Genesis information, he basically has to sacrifice her to save the secret that they've stolen everything. Right. I actually like that. But I think that's when they finally figure out what the alien is. Though the ending is that, I don't know, that laughter, if we just laugh at it, it doesn't get rid of the alien, though, if you think about it.
What are you talking about?
The alien could go to another ship. Yeah, but it could go somewhere else.
Sure, but it leaves them.
Right, but it doesn't solve the problem. What are they going to do? Make sure if you see a swirling red and white thing that you laugh at it when you see it. It's like we never hear from it again. It's a little strange.
Underwritten, like a lot of this stuff.
Right. Well, anyway, that's all I have for this. Let me just give you some odds and ends, unless there's something specific from it you'd like to talk
No,
about.
I'm good.
All right. Well, Michael and Sarah, you also, besides those things I told you before, you know where he's also from, don't you?
No.
He's from the Outer Limits as a soldier. He's also been in, in this that episode you really liked that became the Terminator.
Oh,
yeah,
wow, cool.
That's him. He's also in Lost in Space. Susan Howard was Mara. She was in Tarzan. And so those two are over there. Those are the ones that are over there. Scotty, I actually liked in this episode a lot. I did like the fact that he had more catalogs, but that's pretty much good. About it. That ending scene. Yeah, it was actually, and he didn't have that ridiculous hairstyle anymore. But again, NBC failed to promote this, but even so, this still came in like number 2 in all the ratings. So that's basically it. The ending to me is just kind of like just laughing at it. Goes, get out. We don't need a reason to hate humans. It just kind of left me flat. That's the way I felt over it. So before we get to our ratings, I mean, unless there's anything else, I figured I'd tell you, we go over to how much do you think this costs? Again, in 1968. What do you think, Mike? It's 5 days of shooting. It came under budget.
But the budgets were higher, and I'm always going too low. Full cast, they took those... They either made those swords from plywood in the back in about half an hour, or from an existing production. The visual of the ship, the alien, $185,000.
Close. It's $174,735.
Not even close.
But well, you know what? But that would be in 2025 dollars, $1,626,722.60.
Amazing.
So it is. It's that's what it is. But so now I guess we'll come to our ratings, Mike, on a very scientific 1 to 10 scale. What are you gonna give Day of the Dove?
Okay. So I liked the Klingon. I liked the acting. It was fine premise. Underwritten villain and underwritten ending. I give it a 6 out of 10.
Well, that's pretty much what you've been giving most of the season in the third season.
It's not awful. It doesn't have the dregs of the crap of the original of the first season, but it's not blowing my socks off.
I think the first season's actually better than this so far, but I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. And I not that far different from you. I think it also the villain is kind of not complete. The story isn't complete. We never find out what happens to the alien. The over-the-top acting is silly. I also don't like the way they just kind of sort of stop fighting at the end. Everyone stop fighting. Okay. And they just kind of like someone yelled cut, and they all kind of stopped moving at that one point. I don't like that. And we never find out what happens to any of this stuff. They just, you know the scene I'm talking about. Everyone, while you're watching, they just kind of stop. And it reminds me of several other things in the way they flip back and forth between, like, I'm going to kill anyone that's different than us. What am I saying? It's a little weird. It took them so long, or took them a while to figure it out. And then heading back home, warp factor 5, without so much as, some sort of fun, I guess, cuter ending or something that kind of rounded it out. I don't know. It just didn't do it for me. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. And that's the 7? End of Day of the Dove. Well, you want me to match with you? There's some things some things I do like. I do like the idea of an alien taking over the ship and them trying to figure out what it is. And that's a little bit different. I like the idea of a good portion of the ship being trapped below decks. And I like the more Klingon time. I like the idea that something there being controlled for something that they can't figure out. So I'm not saying it's almost middle of the road to me. I originally had listed this as an 8, but the things that pushed it to the top was like the instant healing of the crew, the realization that Spock has that they are being taken over, and how they figure out that maybe good emotions as opposed to negative emotions will save the day. I kind of like those concepts, but for the most part, it's okay. It's kind of like, for me, this is one of the better ones of season 3. and that's why I give it, I guess, an extra point. Normally, I probably would normally give it a 6, but if I was just watching this in general, but for the third season, I give it a little bit extra because it's the most science fictiony to me in most of them. You know, the most of the things we've been giving out for season 3 are 6s, believe it or not.
I believe you.
I don't. Yeah, I don't think we've had a 10 or 9 really. Well, you liked, and the children shall lead a little bit in a weird way.
I don't know what to tell you, man. I thought it was fine.
I hate that one. Anything with that, those noises and those hand gestures.
Hand gestures, yes. I look past them. But anyway, listen, let's wrap this up.
Sure. So next time on our upcoming episodes of Yelling at Gaseous Anomalies, we have For the World is Hollow and I Have Touched the Sky. Oh. That's actually a very good episode as well. It has actually Dr. McCoy as a main character in this one, or the main focus of this one. It's a lot of fun, I find. It's lighter than this one in some ways. I think it's better paced in others. So I'm looking forward to that. Also, everyone, as always, if you like what we're doing here, you want to say hi, drop us a line by emailing us at yellingatgas@gmail.com. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you'll know when our next episodes are coming up. And our next episode we'll be seeing, again, For the World is Hollow and I Have Touched the Sky. That's what we have to look forward to. It's an interesting issue with a wayward spaceship. I will tell you that the Orville did something very similar to this episode.
Interesting. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I look forward to sharing with you as always. Mike, anything else you want to add to our fans out there?
Even when it's an underwhelming episode, it's still a fun time with Captain. So thank you very much, Captain.
Oh, thanks again for joining us. Again, everyone, we'll look forward to seeing you on our next episode of Yelling at Gaseous Anomalies. Live long and prosper, and we'll see you out there.
Get off my ship. You're a dead duck here. You're powerless. We know about you.